Well, joining me now is the pro-democracy activist, Colonel Tony Nyiam. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you.
Now, 25 years after the Epetedo Declaration, first of all, what for you is at the heart of the speech that the late MKO Abiola declared at Epetedo?
It was Chief MKO Abiola was a great man, and above all, he was a man of principles. And principles outlive any human being. His principles were really for equity, freedom, because he came from a poor background and he worked his way up and wanted everybody to enjoy the benefit of his generosity. And so for me, MKO was a bold man. Before he came down to do the declaration, when he escaped and came to London, we were in London, and I once said to him, are you not worried about coming back to Nigeria, that you might face danger? He said he wasn't worried. He was that bold because he felt it was the mandate of the people, and it was even if it means him giving his life, he would do that. And he made this declaration to me and my friend Chief Great Ogburu in his house in Chester in London.
And from the declaration that he made to you,
yes,
what was striking for you that you saw he wanted to do?
No, he wanted Nigerians. We've suffered too much deprivation and poverty. And he was a rich man, and being a rich man, he knew the secrets to richness, and he was going to share that secret to all Nigerians.
Now, 25 years on after that declaration was made, would you say that we have been able to imbibe or, so to speak, bring to bear what he was trying to achieve with that declaration?
Unfortunately, we've fallen backward. In fact, the kind of opportunity MKO had, or former President Obasanjo had, from poverty, both were poor and became what they were. That opportunity is now denied the masses of Nigerians. So we've really gone backward. And what is worse, at this moment, to go by your slogan, fact, straight, right now, we face deep security problem. This is the saddest thing.
So what would it take to bring to life? Yes, we are going to be celebrating June the 12th, yes, which begins tomorrow.
Sure.
And the struggles that MKO Abiola was trying to achieve, democracy, bringing hope to Nigerians, sure, what would it take to achieve that? Because over the years, like you said, we fell back. Sure. What would it take to achieve all of those?
First of all, let me take the chance to thank President Muhammadu Buhari for doing what his predecessors didn't do, for giving honor to Chief MKO Abiola. But having said that, I do pray that President Muhammadu Buhari seizes the opportunity to walk his talk. The talk being he's promised, like former military President Babangida has said, he has promised that he's going to give security to Nigeria. That's what the president has promised. He was going to restore security. And to do that meaningfully, he has to ensure that Nigeria returns back to true federal democratic republic. At the moment, so far, we've been pretentious about democracy or federalism. And that is one of the causes of the insecurity, right, and of course, the poverty we're facing, which MKO was against.
All right, Colonel Tony Nyiam, thank you for your time on TVC Breakfast.
And joining me now is a pro-democracy activist, Colonel Tony Nyiam, retired. It's good to have you join us, Colonel.
Thank you.
You were one close friend of late MKO Abiola, and as it is, let me ask you this question personally. That Epetedo Declaration, as it is called, or the proclamation, as it is referred to today, would you see it as a mistake?
No, not at all. It was very much like MKO, in that the setting was the setting of a small commonplace of the poor. And this was typically what Chief MKO Abiola represents in the whole country, wherever he went, be it in Maiduguri, be it in Katsina, be it in Cross River, be it in Ilorin, he was generous. He was a man who shared his wealth. And Chief MKO was an enigma. If you know him, he was a very brilliant man, tall in his height, and in the same time humble. Once he came to the office when I was a young officer to see then General Abacha, and they kept him waiting for hours. And I went to him and said, Chief, won't you, because they may not, he said, no, I'll wait. And then he told me a story that once he went to see Zairian president, and then for business. And the president told him that... Indeed. The president told him to go and see his son, who was the Minister for Sports. And the minister took him, the young minister, who was kind of an erratic guy, took him for hunting. And that he followed the young man with his agbada, and they went into a hill to hunt monkeys. And that he had to do that because of business. And in other words, he said, I will do this, and even when I make the money, I would then share it.
All right, now, but that declaration led to his arrest, and we all know what followed. If that declaration wasn't made, do you think things would have been different today?
I think the declaration this is why, because of his boldness, this is why he's been given the highest honor any Nigerian has been given. To be named for a whole public holiday, to be named after a human being. This is very much like Martin Luther in the US. So I think what President Muhammadu Buhari has done for MKO is quite commendable because, but having said that, I think President Muhammadu Buhari should allow his advisors and his handlers, if I may use the word, to allow him put the principles which MKO represents into action. And those principles are enthroning democracy and federalism in our country.
All right. Besides all of that, how best, apart from declaring a day, the Democracy Day, which he stood for, making it the Nigerian Democracy Day, what other ways do you think he can be immortalized?
I think, for example, I would have thought that just like we have Murtala Mohammed Airport, we would need something of that stature to immortalize them.
But we remember University of Lagos was being named after him, and we saw all the reactions.
I think not that was something else can be, which is appropriate, can be done. But more important, I think MQ would prefer Nigerians to be free, to be given their freedom. And that freedom is that people should be able to move about freely with their lives saved. Not us hearing people being hijacked or kidnapped on the ways between Ibadan and Ife, in the heartland of Yoruba land, to have this kidnapping going on, and for kidnappings to be going on in Ondo and other parts of the country. And of course, the killings going on in Zamfara. All this is not what MQ would have stood for.
All right.
And I think we need a system that would deal with all that.
It's okay. Colonel Tony Nyiam, retired. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.